Charlie Fox tells me, Dave, I heard that you're spending all this money trying to prove that you can try juice without a binder, and you're not having any success. I harvested kamut in Montana and drove it to Minnesota in a truck with ice thrown over the grass so I could try all these experiments, and none of it worked in this place that said that they were the best dryer of food on the planet. And he says, you know, I know this guy living up in the mountains in Utah. He went to them trying to prove that he had the best way to dry food, that if they wanted to dry food and store it for 2 years, that he found a way to dehydrate food without using any heat and without using any binders. And I said, it's not possible. I've been working for 1.5 years to do this with the greatest technologists on the planet. It's not possible. The best I've been able to do is get it down to a 15% carrier instead of 40%, like the Japan Pharmaceutical Company was doing. He says, I swear to you, it's pure. I said, get him on the phone. I get this guy on the phone and he talks like Elmer Fudd. He's got, and he tells me that what he did was he dug a big hole in the sandstone, a 200-foot tall hole, and then he put a sprayer at the top, and as the juice fell down through there, the hot wind in the desert would come up and rise up through the hole, and by the time the juice fell to the bottom, it was a powder. And I said, how's that possible? And he said, watch this. And he put on a cassette tape of waves crashing on rocks. And they showed the spray go up in the air, and these super slow motion cameras showed that salt spray evaporate and salt fall back to the earth. Mist would go up and salt would fall down. And the temperature in the ocean was only like 60, 70 degrees. And he says, when I saw that video, I knew that I could evaporate food without a binder. But I needed to recreate that, and that's what he did in the sandstone with the sprayers. So Amy and I gave him $500,000 to build a machine that would do what the sandstone did. And then we found this amazing land that had 1,000 acres of soil that was 90 feet deep with topsoil because it had been a lake for thousands of years, and it just dried up less than 100 years ago, and all this accumulated amazing stuff where the lake was in there, and we began to cultivate that. And me and Amy invested in that land. We invested in that technology. We brought the world's first 100% pure, certified organic, without any binder, filler, or excipient, low temperature dehydrated food for the very first time into this world. And when you test my dry powders, you will find lots of living enzymes. Okay? You will not find a pesticide residue in anything that we make. And so the process where this company started was Amy and I investing in a dream that we could change the world, that everybody drinking dry green juice had to take sugar with it, had to take chemicals with it, and it was not alive. And we changed that. And we built this company on that single promise that we would not adulterate your food, and we would deliver you the purest food, that we would reach back into cultures in the ancient history, and we bring forward the knowledge that had been lost. And kamut is a beautiful example of that. Okay?